Hello YouTube, this is going to be the first of many for my ethos on investing, collectibles, and money, and how everything works, and why do collectibles go up in price, why do sometimes the collectibles skyrocket in price, and there's honestly a lot of factors at work, but I'd like to start off with the first factor, which is the dollar. So, as you know, if you want to buy a collectible, you have to buy it for an amount of dollars. Now, let's say it's going to be a Pokemon booster box, and there was once a time where the Pokemon booster box, you could buy them for like $180, $50, $80, $100. Now, let's say people didn't open the boxes. The price would still go up on boxes. Let's say no one ever opened a single Pokemon booster box. The price would probably be going up on all of them. And I'm not necessarily talking about the supply for why the price would be going up. I'm not also talking about specifically the demand as much. Let's say the demand is stagnant, but let's say people are just swapping boxes, left and right. They're just trading boxes. The price would still go up. And the reason why is because of what's happening with the dollar bill. The way that the dollar bill works is kind of like the inverse of what happens right now with Pokemon boxes. Well, right now, the reality is people do destroy the box. So let's say you take any booster box of Pokemon. Let's say the Pokemon company has printed 1 million of these boxes. Now, over time, people destroy them. It goes to 900,000. Then it goes down to 500,000, and it goes to 200,000. People go, oh my God, there's not that many on the market. 100,000, 50,000, and then so on and so on, until pretty much all the boxes are gone. Of course, there's a certain moment where people stop opening them, and they hold it for the long term to never be opened. But even those boxes sometimes fall into the hands of someone who wants to make a video or something, even though it's, you're not going to get the money out of the box. It's not the point of it. It's almost for like whatever untangible is the reason. So even then, even when things are put into cold storage, there could be fires like the Los Angeles fire that destroyed, tons and tons of collectibles, which you never know what aftermath that's going to have on the market because it's not immediate, it's not instant. It's not like every time a box disappears from the market. Excuse me. It's not immediate. So, what's happening with the dollar? So, like I said, it's the inverse of the Pokemon booster box market. They're making more dollars. And not just once, but they're mass printing dollars. So, it's almost like you have, let's say, $5 billion bills. Let's say there's $5 billion bills out in the world, out in circulation. And, Jerome Powell goes, print more, guys. So now there's 6 billion. Now, you would expect for the price of all the existing 5 billion to actually fall because there's now an extra 1 billion for no reason. There's just more dollar bills that can be, out in the world. So if you think of like supply and demand, if supply goes up and demand doesn't necessarily go up at all to meet that, then boom, you have inflation and you have the price of the dollar eroding because there's just more dollars in circulation. Suddenly people are able to buy things easier with less money, with the same amount of money. So then people go, or the market has this intangible like, oh my God, this is getting sold too fast. Prices should be a little higher. And that's when you get stuff like, let's say, like the dollar, or like the 25-cent cheeseburger from back in my day, the 25, that you have that burger being worth $1 now, or fast forward, it's worth 2 or 3. And in the future, it's going to go up to 5, 10, 20. And, that's just because, it's not because the burger is getting more valuable. It's the currency you're using to spend it is getting less valuable. It's like if you take a chart for the price, instead of having it pegged at $1, you have it priced in cheeseburgers. And you take whenever it was 25 cents and that's flat. It's just one cheeseburger. And you go, what is the dollar compared to one cheeseburger? And you would actually see at one point $1 was 4 cheeseburgers, way past that. But then as time has gone past, you know, it hit $1. You have like the dollar menu cheeseburger from McDonald's, you know, right at the one burger mark, and then you see it continue to fall to where we are today, where like $1 is like half a burger from the McDonald's, or maybe less than that, you know, talking about like just the menu pricing only. So this is more of like a conversation. I mean, it's kind of basic economics for a lot of people, but I also believe a lot of people don't know that. This is not something that people really learn in traditional, you know, junior to high school. You don't really learn how the dollar works, or the way that you really can, like the perspective you can look on why prices are going up. And it's not necessarily that something like a Pokemon booster box is rising in price, but the dollar is falling. So even if that box was the same box, the same demand, and nothing really changed, it would be going up in price only because there's more dollars entering circulation. And the more dollars that enter circulation, the less it's valued at, and the lower and lower it goes over time. Now, I've probably talked about it in my other videos. There's other concepts I want to talk about with just how money works, why booster boxes go up. And really, I wanted to make this just a multi-part series of explaining my ethos for sealed and physical collectibles and holding them into the long term. And, you know, keep in mind, we haven't even talked about percentages or the actual values. We're only just talking about this one concept. And if you've made it to the end of the video, I just want to say, no one is dumb or illogical. Well, most people are pretty logical, but the missing link is often either perspective or information. Because if you ask someone something or you tell someone something, they're going to have questions about it, things that they need the gap filled. And the questions are usually pretty valid. It's like they understand what you said is true, which if they're not logical, then they won't be able to understand it, but they are logical, so they understand what you said is true. However, here's a question about it. If what you said is true, explain this thing that I don't really have a complete understanding on. And then you explain that, and then they have another question. So often, even just that process of someone's own brain finding logical links to continue through the future, even they can figure out what's the correct frame of thought and the correct course of action for things. So it's not that people aren't smart or logical. It's just a lack of information. It's a lack of explanation. It's a lack of information. And once you hear something like this, most people will be like, okay, you're true. But I have some other questions about it. If you have one of those questions about how the dollar works, or if you think there's something I said was wrong, please leave a comment. Like I said, even me, I could use as much information, and I believe that both you and I are both logical and both smart. However, maybe there's something that you or I don't know about how money works, how collectibles work, and there could be some missing link that we're not thinking about or not aware of. So let me know what you think. Please give this video a like and a comment. You know, just say something. Come on, I want to know you guys are out there. And if you like stuff like this, subscribe, because I'm going to keep trying to make more. And I believe that I have I'm bringing a nice dialogue to the space of collectibles. Perhaps with a slightly unique perspective, because I'm not someone who has the ton of money yet. I'm on the path, and I believe Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and all these collectibles and comics, I believe they're all helping me get there. But, you know, it just takes time, like all things. So, see you guys later, and happy stacking. Woo!